One side calls a Michigan primary a movement, another calls it a liability, and the Strait of Hormuz is either Iranian aggression or a cornered regime's last gamble. This is Parallax Newsroom. The sharpest split is whether a court blocking a White House ballroom is a routine separation of powers ruling or a prelude to a Supreme Court victory. An appeals court ruled President Trump cannot build a White House ballroom without congressional approval, prompting Trump to announce plans to appeal. MSNBC framed the ballroom as a rebranded military center, emphasizing the pivot. The Associated Press kept the focus on the constitutional standoff, noting Congress must approve. Fox News leaned into optimism, reporting that the ballroom's foes face a very tough argument at the Supreme Court. The read, MSNBC emphasizes the rebranding to suggest bad faith, while Fox News highlights legal experts predicting victory to frame the loss as temporary. The Associated Press omits the military framing entirely, sticking to the structural conflict. The word military is doing heavy lifting on the left, implying a loophole exploit, while very tough argument on the right signals confidence. What is verifiable is the ruling and the appeal. The Supreme Court outcome remains pure speculation. The stake for viewers is whether executive power expands through judicial interpretation or gets checked by Congress. The core disagreement is whether Abdul El-Sayed's Michigan Senate primary win is a progressive milestone or a strategic liability for Democrats. El-Sayed won the Michigan Democratic Senate primary, defeating establishment-backed opponents. Vox highlighted the win as a landmark for Muslim voters and progressive values. The Associated Press focused on Trump's attacks, noting Trump claims El-Sayed hates Jewish people despite his commitments to safety. The Dispatch framed the victory as Democrats throwing away an advantage in Michigan. The read, Vox elevates El-Sayed as a movement figure, emphasizing identity and grassroots power, while the Dispatch frames the same outcome as electoral sabotage, arguing the party alienated moderates. The Associated Press centers Trump's attacks rather than the coalition that elected El-Sayed. The phrase "power of our many" from the nation signals a populist pitch, while the Dispatches "throw away an advantage" signals panic. Verifiable is the primary result. The general election risk is a projection. What all sides omit is El-Sayed's specific policy platform, leaving voters to judge the candidate on identity and electability rather than substance. The divide is whether Iran's new Strait of Hormuz demands are proof of regime aggression or a sign of desperation from a cornered leadership. Iran issued new demands regarding ship passage through the Strait of Hormuz amid ongoing tensions with the United States. The Guardian described the demands as tough and noted a deal remains out of reach. The Associated Press framed Iran as a regime that thinks it has Trump cornered, but faces great risks. The Hill published Iran's list of demands, framing the standoff as a hanging balance. The read, The Guardian emphasizes the demands as hardline, while the Associated Press frames Iran as overconfident and vulnerable. The word cornered from the Associated Press suggests Iran is reacting to pressure, while the Guardian's tough demands implies strength. The Hill's neutral framing of a published list still leaves the reader to judge intent. Verifiable are the demands themselves, and the UAE's report of a missile targeting a ship. What is spin is the characterization of Iran's strategy as either a sign of strength or weakness. All sides omit the specific content of the demands beyond the adjective tough, leaving viewers without the actual terms of the standoff. The sharpest disagreement is whether Todd Blanche's confirmation as Attorney General is a corruption enabler or a routine Republican victory. The Senate confirmed Todd Blanche as the new Attorney General after Senator Bill Cassidy backed his nomination. The Hill reported that Democrats blasted Blanche as an enabler of Trump's corruption after confirmation. NBC News focused on Senator Cassidy as a critical holdout who came around to support the nominee. Fox News shifted to the future, framing Blanche as a newly minted AG facing a test on Dr. Fauci. The read, The Hill emphasizes Democratic outrage, using enabler to frame Blanche as complicit in corruption. NBC News omits the corruption framing entirely, focusing on the mechanics of the vote and Cassidy's role. Fox News pivots away from the confirmation fight to Blanche's upcoming agenda, signaling readiness rather than controversy. The word enabler is doing the work on the center-left, while newly minted on the right signals a fresh start. Verifiable is the confirmation and Cassidy's vote. What is spin is the characterization of Blanche's intent. What all sides omit is Blanche's actual legal record, leaving viewers to judge him on association rather than qualifications. Across all four stories, the left frames events as systemic threat, the right frames them as strategic opportunity, and the center quietly records the mechanics while leaving the stakes to the reader. Subscribe for the framing gap.